So what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to give you a quick introduction of who I am. I'm going to let you know my journey, and I'm going to show you a quick 1-minute film that I did. Then I'm going to show you an app that I created. This is a picture of me talking to my boyfriend about why he was talking to the girl in the other screen. So my name is Afro Futcha, as I said, but please don't call me that. Don't call me Afro because my hair does not reflect Afro. So just call me Diane, okay? I'm a creative that loves AI. I've been doing web design for about 15 years, and I just fell into AI about a year ago, 11 months to be exact. I'm a music producer. I love making music, listening to music. I DJ music. My thing is I love the 70s, anything from the jazz era, that's my thing. I like dancing, house, samba, though I tend to do samba the most when I'm about to go to the toilet, whatever. I love making stuff, whether it's journals, greeting cards, a mess, clothes, whatever the case may be. And I love watching documentaries. Serial killer documentaries is my favourite. Don't ask me why. I just like them. And I love to sleep. I'm a mother to a 15-year-old boy who is neurodivergent, the same as me. I'm neurodivergent with ADHD and autism, and my son is exactly the same. He's the type of boy where if we drive past McDonald's, he tells me we got food at home. Exactly. Also, forgot to add, that little picture is me again with my robot. I asked him to bring me tea in bed. I don't know what happened there. So a little bit about my journey. Does anybody know about Clubhouse? A little app called Clubhouse. Okay, only one. So Clubhouse is like a social audio app. It's a bit like Twitter Spaces. And it was a massive thing back in during the COVID time. Everybody would go on there. It was a bit like LinkedIn, and then it kind of turned into Jerry Springer a little bit later. It was quite crazy. But anyway, I used to run a room called Mid-Journey and Chill in Clubhouse. And there used to be a bunch of us where we would get together and we'd create amazing stories or listen to amazing music, get drunk, and just make as many images as we possibly can. Does anybody know a guy called Wallonius? He did BBL Drizzy. Does anyone know him? Yeah? So he was actually part of our group. So we used to mastermind and sit down and do, look, there's a whole bunch of us that used to do this. It's amazing. And then 2024, I kind of went for like a midlife crisis. I'm in my mid-40s, and I know that that's what it was. And I was kind of in between trying to figure out, like, what work am I going to do? Because I've been doing web design for like too long. And I don't want to look at another client's brief. I'm done with that. So I was kind of trying to figure out what it is I wanted to do, and I ended up falling back into AI, but doing more film work. And the first music video that I ever did was a song by a guy called Archer, featuring my best friend, a guy called Ty, Ty is like a very well-known hip-hop artist. He kind of brought hip-hop to the UK almost, and he died during the COVID period. And I ended up doing a music video related to, well, it was a song and he was in it. And it was one of the first music videos that I ever did for a client. That song went on to winning me first place for Project Odyssey. I don't know if any of you guys know Project Odyssey. It's a great AI film competition that happens once or twice a year. It's one of the biggest competitions, and I was absolutely astounded that I won first place. There's a whole story surrounding that, and I'll tell you another time. But through that, I ended up speaking. Thank you. So through that, I ended up going to Sweden and speaking at Berks University, talking about AI storytelling, because I'm so big on storytelling, it's a joke. I went on to win more awards and got nominated for like so many different things. I've done so many workshops. I recently spoke at TED AI Vienna, TED the big one, not the little one. And I spoke at the BBC actually with John, who just did that little thing from The Matrix. Me and him spoke at the BBC talking about AI and creatives kind of using AI more in their work. I've gone on to produce one album AI album, which is kind of, so if anyone's into cinematic jazz, you'll really love this album, by the way. I've done 7 documentaries, I've done 9 short stories, I've done 13 music videos, and there's still more work for me to do, and that's most of the stuff that I've done this year. So I've gone from a web designer to this creative that still doesn't know what the hell she's doing, but I'm just riding the wave anyway. This is a picture of me asking the robot for some hair. So, these are the tools. Look how many there are. These are the tools that I use. Now, I'm going to ask a really stupid question. Does anybody have a food budget? No one has a food budget. So we're just all living off air, okay. So I have a food budget, and at the beginning of this year I realised I also have to have an AI budget. And sometimes my AI budget is bigger than my food budget. It's crazy, right? And to be honest, some of these tools I'm CPP with, and that I do get free credits, I ain't gonna lie. Thank you, Lord, for that. But it's a lot of tools that we're using, and they have all got like there's not a perfect tool. There's always just like one tool that does something amazing and another tool that does something okay, blah, 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 blah. It is what it is. But I really enjoy these tools, and especially I'm really loving Grok at the moment. I don't know if anyone's used Grok for video, but wow, what is going on? Anyway, so yeah, if you get a chance, have a look at Grok. So I'm going to show you a video, and this is a film that I made. Actually, before I get there, I want to talk about something that really, 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 really annoys me, and that's prompting. I hate prompting with a passion. Even though I have a certificate, it's weird to say I've got a certificate in prompt engineering, but whatever. Even though I have a certificate in it, I hate it. I hate having to figure out what tool, how I speak to that tool, what is the best way to get Runway to do what the heck I need it to do, what is the best way to get Kling to do this running, like it becomes really difficult. My main tool of choice is always Midjourney. I always go back to Midjourney no matter what, simply because of the styles and whatnot. But again, it's just like a whole bunch. I spend more time prompting than I do anything else, and it really, really flipping annoys me. So I'm going to be talking in this session about an app that I vibe coded, right? And I'm talking to you about this because, and I'm not trying to, like, this isn't any sales pitch, I'm not trying to sell it, trust me. This is what I use in-house. This is more trying to put a seed in your head about what your workflows are and how actually you guys are the best app engineers for your workflow, because you know exactly what you need to do and when you need to do it, right? And how you want it to look. So I'm going to show you a film that I did. It's part of a film. It's only about a minute long, and it's called Passenger.
Hello?
Sir, are you okay?
I like how in one of the videos that's popped up, it says very fast. And then it's about AI. That's about AI for sure. All right, anyways, so thank you for that. So, oh shit. Anyway, so that film, that part of the film was made using one prompt. So when Martin was talking, he was talking about consistent characters. There was a few things that he was talking about actually, but we were talking about consistent characters, we were talking about scenes, we were talking about how hard sometimes it can be. Has anybody used Higgsfield in here? Yeah? They just released this new program called, does it actually, first, before I say this, does anyone work for Higgsfield in here? Okay, cool. So with Higgsfield, they just released this new thing called Popcorn. And it's basically a scene generator. You upload a couple of pictures and you type in what you want the scene to say or what you want the scene to do, and then it kind of creates an idea of what it thinks you need for that particular scene. And I tried it, and I was like 40% impressed, I'll be honest with you. A lot of these things are just using APIs, and they are just tapping into like pre-existing technology which is there. They just got a fancy UI in the front and they tout it as, you know, a new product or whatever the case may be, but really they're just making use of the UI, and I'm going to show you how you can do something similar to that yourself by using AI tools. Another thing is waste. So, how many people in here use Midjourney? Yeah? So, I don't know how many images that you guys have done, but there was a period of time where everyone used to brag about making 65,000 images in Midjourney, right? And yeah, it's great, but no one gets to see those 65,000 images that you make. And sometimes I'll be creating in Midjourney, and I'm looking and I'm like, what is really all of this for? Because I'm creating all these images that no one's ever going to see. You know, it's just going to sit on my computer, and it feels a bit orphan-like. It feels Oliver Twist, kind of like it's gone into the ether, never to be seen again. So I wanted to show you an app that I created using vibe coding. Does anyone know what vibe? I know I keep asking you guys questions because I'm nervous, but does anyone use vibe coding or ever vibe coding? Yeah?
So vibe coding.
So vibe coding, as a web designer, I did kind of put my nose up at vibe coding at one point, I must admit. But I found it such a useful tool, especially now I'm doing filmmaking and I'm using AI. I call it seducing the machines, because I definitely have experience with seducing machines. Sorry, it doesn't get any worse than that. I'm done, I swear. I'm not doing any more. So I just wanted to show you this app that I created in Google AI Studio, and it's a shame I'm not using my own computer because now I'm worried that I'm going to touch something and it's going to go wrong. But let me see if I can do. So I created this. I don't even have a name for it, this app. So if you want to give me a name, you can do. And I created this using a tool called Google AI Studio. It's a free tool to use. And I don't mean free as in it's only free for like 10 minutes and then you've got to pay some credits. You actually can use it for free for a long time. And it doesn't put you in a loop. So those people who have done vibe coding before, you would know what I mean when I say that you go in a loop, in terms of you type something and something is broken, and then you're like, hey guys, could you fix this? And it fixes it, but then it introduces a whole new problem all over again. With Google AI Studio, I find that there's less of that happens in this one, and I would highly recommend using it. And if you want to take pictures, by the way, of this, you are more than welcome to. Again, this is not something I'm trying to sell. This is not something I'm looking for investors for. This is just something that I created because I am so sick and tired of creating images, and out of 45 images, only 2 of them I'm going to use. So this app kind of cuts it down a bit, and it's using the same technology as Higgsfield and all the rest of them, and it's using Nano Banana, okay? So I'm going to quickly show you, and to be honest, this is a demo, and we all know that tech demos go wrong, so let's just pretend that it went right this time, okay? So I've uploaded 2 pictures. I've uploaded a picture of a cat, and I've uploaded a picture of a mouse, okay? And this is kind of similar to Runway, where you can upload certain pictures and you can upload certain scenes and whatnot. But works a tiny little bit different, so I'm going to show you. So I've got a story here, and it says, a cat is sleeping on the bed, the mouse wakes the cat up, and the cat chases the mouse around a big mansion, until, at the end, the mouse hugs the cat, and they fall asleep together on the bed. So what I'm going to do, that's just the scene. Now you can do, this is just the story, but you can do this per scene, per beat, whatever the case is. I'm just doing it per story right now, so then we have a little bit more context. Then I press this button to generate the prompts for me, because I ain't got time for all that at all. It generates the prompts for me, and while it generates the prompts, it will populate itself in these 8 boxes here, which I can go into and I can edit them, so it's not just it gives me these prompts and I have to run with the prompts. I can go in and edit them. As you can see, they're all there. Now with this as well, it's got a little tab here called variations, which means that if I want to see 2 versions or 4 versions of that prompt, it will also do it for me. And also, if any of you guys have worked with Nano Banana, you understand that there is so many restrictions. So the cat sleeping with the mouse, I just hope to God that this isn't a restriction because they're not doing anything crazy. But sometimes it does stop you from generating an image because of that. With this system, it actually tells you what prompt is the one that's offending, and then it rewrites the prompt for you. So that you don't have to sit down there and try and work out, what is going on. So I'm going to click this button here to generate all of the scenes. Now, this is 8 prompts. If I was to bring this into Midjourney, I will be creating 8 prompts, and I'll be getting about 32 images, because with Midjourney it gives you 4 images at a time, right? Okay, so here it's showing us the image. So here we have the cat on the bed. The mouse is waking up the cat. Oops. If we scroll down, you have the mouse chasing the cat. And you can see it's created the story for me, right? And we've created 8 images. Out of these 8 images, I'm probably going to use about 6 of them. So I haven't created 32 images and then created 6. I've created 8 and now I've got 6, right? But then there's more to that than this. So what I do is every time I find an image that I like, I click here on the star button, which is what I call my curated. I don't like to call it favorites or like, because it's so generic. And I think curated is much more important, because it means, no, this is the thing, this is the image that I'm going to stick with. It's not just something that I like. Another thing that I added as well was the ability to see my gallery. So when you go onto Midjourney and you create the image, it gets lost in the reams of images which are there, which is annoying, because now you're going to have to kind of sift through, or you have to look at a certain folder. I've made sure that at the bottom of the screen, my folder is always there. You'll have your session, which is all the images that you've done, but then you've got your created here. So I'm just going to go through and like the ones that I think are pretty cool to use. I like this one, it smells quite cute. Okay, so if I find that I like most of them, I can then come back over to here and then delete the prompts, which I do like. There's probably an easier way in which I can do this, but for now I'm just going to show you this. I'm going to delete the ones that have actually worked. And then generate the images again for the 2 that didn't work. And that's going to do what I think it's going to do. Let's just wait for that to go through. I kind of like that one. And I like this one as well. So out of 10 images that we've created, we're keeping 8 of them. All right? So I have another section here at the top called storyboard, which is where I can create a storyboard for my story. I'm just going to call it cat. And I can create a scene, and then I can go and drag my stories on there. This isn't anything new. I'm not reinventing anything. I'm just making my workflow a little bit easier for me to understand. So then when I do as well, give it to my clients, it's easy too. You can see on the images that there's a red dot there. The red dot there indicates that this image is being used. Again, just another UI thing to just so we're not redoing things over and over again and trying to figure out stuff. Now, I created this app while I was working on a project. I didn't just sit down and was just trying to work it out. And I think that might be the best way if you do consider doing vibe coding for your app. Is the best way is to do it while you're doing a project, because you actually ask more questions and you can see what you need more during those periods of time. So this app, even though it took me a month to make, it's because during that month I had 2 projects I had to work on. Okay, so just imagine I've pulled out all of the images into my storyboard. Now, these are just the main images. I can do other things as well. So for instance, I am the queen of B-rolls. I love a B-roll, right? So I've made my system in a way that I can click on an image. Let's click on this image here, and it gives us a whole bunch of options. So create landscape is where I can zoom a little bit out of the picture to get more concept of what's going on in that room. If I want to remove people or animals from an image because I want to use the background as another background for another scene, I can do that as well. Transparent, you already know what that means. But here, if I click on generate a B-roll, what it does is it goes into the picture and finds 4 things that I could possibly use as B-rolls in my film. Let's have a look. Here we go. So here we've got the close-up of the cat, close-up of the mouse. And we can get it to do this a couple of times. But this is quite impressive, right? In terms of like, I can use these as like additional shots to go as fillers between each part of the film. So I can click on this as well. There's other things I've got on here, so replacing the face. If I was doing a thing where I needed a face replace, I can use that as well. There's also other features here where I could also add it directly to the scene, into the storyboard, and so on and so forth. So again, I've used 14 images, and I can go through and click the ones that I'm going to use. So out of 14 images that I've created, I'm using 12. You know, and if we was to times 14 by 4, I don't know what that is because I'm shit with maths. But you can see we're reducing the waste, and we're getting more shots that we're going to use, other than, and I'm really sorry it's spilled, popcorn, where you will create with their app, and then you're finding that you're getting less images. You might find 1 or 2 images out of the 30 or 40 generations that you're doing. And I think the reason why that might be is because they're using multiple APIs. Because this use one API, the consistency is pretty much the same across all of the shots. Now, again, super easy, and it's cut my time. If I was to sit down and do all of this, it's cut my time down by loads. This has only been like a 20-minute presentation so far, and I'm already like 60% of the way through my shots. I can go through and then B-roll the rest of my shots or create new parts of my shots. But again, this is something that I use in-house, and the whole real point of my presentation is just to inspire you guys to think about what your workflows are. How could you improve and not necessarily use all of the tools which are out there, because like I said, some of these tools are quite expensive, and some of these tools are just doing what I've done. They put like a fancy UI with an existing piece of tech which is there. And that was really it, to be honest. I don't really have much else to say other than keep creating.